You know, it feels like there is a disturbance in the Force every time we talk about the Mandalorian, known as Boba Fett. My name is Matt Jarbo, this is 3 Buck Theater, and I'm very happy to talk to you guys today about some interesting news that is breaking concerning this character known as the original Mandalorian, at least in Star Wars fandom. But in order to talk about his future with Star Wars or Disney Plus or whatever, we need to go back and talk about what could have been. Now, I want to take you guys back to 2018. In fact, the date was May 24th, 2018, when Solo: A Star Wars Story was getting ready to drop in theaters. The Hollywood Reporter came out with a very interesting story where they say that a Boba Fett movie was in the works that was going to be written and directed by James Mangold. In fact, they said Lucasfilm is developing a slew of characters into their own movies, including Obi-Wan Kenobi. And at the time, that was big news because we didn't know that the Obi-Wan Kenobi television series, the 4-episode miniseries that's coming, was even a thing. But they said that James Mangold is writing and will direct a Star Wars standalone movie centered on Boba Fett, the feared bounty hunter and fan favorite character. Now, my take at the time was it would be excellent to actually turn the Boba Fett movie into a sequel to Solo: A Star Wars Story, just to establish the relationship between Han and Boba Fett, which would then lead to a greater understanding of how Fett was able to track them down in Empire Strikes Back. But that's not what happened, because Solo: A Star Wars Story was a bit of a dud, unfortunately. The movie did okay, but not as good as they wanted it to. In fact, it kind of really killed the franchise, at least theatrically. And then the Hollywood Reporter went on to write on October 26th, so literally 5 months later, the Star Wars Boba Fett spin-off movie is no longer in the works, saying that news emerged in May that Disney and Lucasfilm had been developing a Star Wars standalone movie centered on the bounty hunter Boba Fett from Logan director James Mangold. Although the project was never officially announced, Variety has now learned that Lucasfilm is no longer developing the Boba Fett movie project. And of course, Disney and Lucasfilm had no comment. And we know that as the years have gone on, there's been a massive push for Solo: A Star Wars Story 2. The Make Solo 2 happen hashtag is something that a lot of people out there really like. And Solo has found a home on not only Netflix, but now on Disney Plus. And the movie was embraced by a lot more fans once they finally got past their hatred of The Last Jedi and sat down and watched Solo. So then that brings me to the question, well, what are we talking about today? Well, last week, and this is where we get some spoilers. Last week on The Mandalorian, the world, the Star Wars world, was shocked when we saw this image of a lone person, a lone wanderer, standing over the two suns of Tatooine, and it turns out that it is Temuera Morrison as Boba Fett. Temuera Morrison himself is playing Fett, at least what we believe to be Fett. It could be a clone from the Clone Wars. At this point, we don't know, but everyone's believing it to be Boba Fett, and that rocketed up all of the conversations surrounding him, even though Disney, and I talked about this in another video, Disney had renewed the trademark for Boba Fett in regards to merchandise, meaning that they knew that this reveal was coming and they wanted to make sure that they could market the hell out of it. Is Disney, this is what they do. But what that's done now apparently has triggered some other conversation, and this is coming in from tonight from Mikey Sutton over at geekositymag.com. Boba Fett series headed to Disney Plus. Now, this is what he's saying, and he's pulling this from a Deadline article. It says the return of Boba Fett in the final scene of The Mandalorian's season 2 premiere set fandom ablaze last week, and Disney Plus is already developing a spin-off show for him. According to Deadline, a Boba Fett TV series could actually begin filming as early as next week. There is no confirmation of this at the moment, or if Temuera Morrison will be playing him as he is in The Mandalorian, but considering the popularity, this is most likely the case. And the truth of the matter is, yeah, a lot of fans out there since 1980 have been huge Boba Fett nuts, and the Mandalorian mythos has only been expanded by the television series. And if they can get Temuera Morrison to come back and play the role, which he originated as Jango Fett in 2002's Attack of the Clones, that would be absolutely freaking epic. And I think that they're probably going to do that. For one, I think that Temuera Morrison's career has not been, in the recent years, he hasn't done as much. He plays Aquaman's dad. That's the last thing I've seen him in. Really, he's done some other things, like he was in Moana as Moana's dad, but he's getting up there in years. And getting a role like this would be a great way to continue acting, put himself out there in front of people, and to earn a pretty decent sized paycheck. Never mind the fact that Star Wars collectibles are still doing very well. And this was just released by Hot Toys not too long ago. The 1/6 scale collectible figure of Captain Rex from the Clone Wars using Temuera Morrison's likeness. Now, I interpreted this as Temuera Morrison coming back when I first saw this image of Captain Rex, which, by the way, I really do want this thing because it looks so freaking cool. And the fact that I'm like, look, if he's giving his likeness and we're hearing all these rumors about Temuera, about Boba Fett, or about, you know, The Mandalorian season 2, it only makes sense at this point he would come back into the fold and continue playing the character. And that's been talked about quite a bit in regards to other articles. This one here from The Direct saying Mandalorian season 2 could add Captain Rex, also played by Temuera Morrison. Saying that diving deeper into the report of Boba Fett appearing in Mandalorian Season 2, Nerdist shared a thought that Temuera Morrison would not be limited to solely portraying the iconic bounty hunter. In fact, Morrison could also be playing the iconic Clone Wars character. And this is coming in from Jordan Mazin, the editor-in-chief of Cinelinx, who says, and while the report doesn't mention it, we think it's highly probable Morrison won't just play Boba Fett. Reliable sources agree. I mean, how could Ahsoka appear in The Mandalorian without Captain Rex? And that would be, in my mind, mind-blowing. Mind-blowing if Boba Fett and Captain Rex somehow meet each other in The Mandalorian Season 2, just to see what that young clone looks like now. Because of how they were portrayed in the Clone Wars television show, that bond between clones would be very interesting. It'd be a very interesting character dynamic to showcase. That, of course, is just what I want to see in the Mando Season 2. But a Boba Fett television series with Disney Plus makes a lot of sense, considering that right now the Mando is more or less ground zero for Star Wars. What I mean by that is they're going to establish a new timeline, not a new timeline, but they're going to establish a new launching pad for content and characters from the Clone Wars, from this era, maybe even from Star Wars Legends, those books or the new books that they're writing, in order to create a whole new connected universe centered in post-Return of the Jedi world, leading into The Force Awakens and the sequel trilogy to flesh out what happened there. That's my take on this. And by giving us a Boba Fett series, it's not going to be a movie. It's going to be a limited series, very similar to Obi-Wan. It allows us to explore that world further, explore that character further, and not run into the same traps that a lot of these shows run into, which is, where do you go after season 3 sort of thing? You give them a tight, condensed story that allows them to have a lot of fun, get fans involved, and really showcase love for the franchise. And I'm telling you, after last week's episode of The Mandalorian and what went down with that, how awesome that was, I am so on board with this. I am so excited for this, and I want to know what you guys are saying about this. Boba Fett television series, Disney Plus. What do you think about it? Let me know down in the comments section. If you guys haven't already, do me a solid, hit that subscribe, hit that like, hit that bell. And if you want some more Star Wars content from me, be sure to check back frequently. My name is Matt Jarbo. I will talk to you guys later. Have yourself a fantastic day. And let's go watch The Mandalorian, because that's going to be freaking epic. All right, guys, I'll talk to you later, and peace out.